Hey, you guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and let's talk about Fantastic Four First Steps because I have to talk about this because apparently, this is another instance of people don't read the comic books and we're just saying shit. Well, if you guys don't know, you know how Marvel let Hollywood reporters and them speak on nonsense for Fantastic Four First Steps. I have to admit, I had to eat that crow because I was almost believing what the hell they were saying. All the stuff that they were saying in the interviews and Vanessa and Pedro and them, all that bull crap that they were saying, none of that bull crap really was present in the movie like that at all. Um, but there is a misconstruction of Susan Storm. Now, yes, we are in this whole women Me Too era nonsense where the women are more powerful, but this has been stated even in the late 60s, early 70s, when Susan Storm was created, that she is potentially the most powerfulest member of the Fantastic Four. Because I've been seeing people talking about, oh, it's the MsheU again because Susan Richards was able to push Galactus into the black hole. Yes, she was after her husband, her brother, and her her best her husband's best friend were fighting him to push him into the black hole. It ain't like she just did it on her own. They fought him. They weakened him enough, what I'm saying, distracted him enough or whatever and stuff like that. But what needs to happen is that just like with the Superman movie, I need some of y'all to pick up comic books. Susan Richards has always been one of the most powerfulest characters in the Marvel universe. Especially, she's been one of the most powerfulest members of the Fantastic Four. That has been known for anyone who read Fantastic Four, anyone who's a fan of Fantastic Four, is that Susan Storm, the Invisible Woman, is the most powerfulest member of the Fantastic Four. This is just basically like Jean Grey. Remember, Jean Grey started off as the weakest member of the X-Men, and then her powers started to grow and develop and stuff like that. And it's kind of crazy how we have we I and I know we are really talking about this. Is part of the problem is that you know Disney, MCU, Kevin Feige, Bob Iger has ruined the girl power fantasy thing because, like I said in one of my other videos about Ballerina is a good movie. The reason why Ana de Armas got that movie is because we saw her 15 minutes in No Time Left to Die 007, and she was excellent. Everybody was like, why does she not have a movie of her own? And they made it possible because we the fans actually was hyping that up. But because Hollywood went so far with having skinny women in general beating up the men and making the men look stupid, that when you have good movies like Atomic Blonde, Ballerina, and then when you have a moment like this in the Fantastic Four with Susan Storm, um, people want to be like, oh, it's the MsheU. But no, this is literally in the comic books. This is why I always tell people there is a danger of not reading these comic books to know things. Because when you spout off that nonsense, then people will come out and be like, see, this is what we're talking about with MCU tards, especially the ones who are anti, woke or whatever. I mean, and it's just like a lot of y'all are not helping y'all case when a lot of y'all do not read this stuff, like the stuff that you're complaining about. You don't read it, and yet you're still talking about, you know what I mean? Like with this one, there was nobody should ever have said Sue Storm is a Mary Sue. No, Sue Storm is not. Um, she is as powerful as her mind allows her to be, right? But the problem is the reason why Reed Richards was warning Sue is because the more she uses her power, it creates an aneurysm inside her brain, which creates she can contrast and literally have a heart attack from using her force field. Her force field power works with her mind, but if her brain, or if she's not concentrating enough, or if she's going, without thinking, she literally can spaz out. onto herself, which is what the movie showed. You know what I mean? Because that is Invisible Woman. And I'll tell you one thing too, if you really want to, there's been occasions where Susan Storm has used her powers, and I mean used her powers, when she was upset or trying to protect whatever. And I'll give you one of the most current probably things that a lot of y'all remember because it came out of one of the most awfulest storylines. So there was a storyline, Marvel Ultimanium, where Magneto changed the polar whatever for the world and created this massive tidal wave that just washed through New York City and killed almost everybody. Now, Susan Storm actually, before a lot of the, to prevent as much damage as she could, she held back all of that water and stuff like that with her mind. Reed Richards was warning her, like, no, you can cauterize your brain, you can get an aneurysm because you're sitting up here using your mind. And she's like, somebody has to do it, but Reed didn't want her to do it. And when she was able to push back the water, you know, and push it back and diverted it, she literally went into a coma because of how powerful that force field was that she did, because she has to concentrate. Um, and when I'm talking about concentrate, it's not like Jean Grey also has to concentrate when she's using her powers, but Jean Grey might be like, oh, and pass out. No, with Susan, it can cause lacerations in the brain. She can create a stroke for herself. And even there's even moments in the comic books where she literally like stopped deities with her force field, and as soon as they touched that force field and was repelled back, her nose started bleeding, or blood coming from her eyes, because she literally is expanding her brain to do this. Her powers come from her brain. Like her actual brain is the control for her powers. It's not generated through the means of like whatever. It is literally her brain itself. So I know a lot of people were like, well, she pushed back Galactus. Yes, she also pushed back a Celestial too. She also has killed um, a cosmic being with her force field. She has also she has also put in small force field bubbles in people's bodies and expanded them if she needs to kill. You know what I'm saying? So yes, Susan Richards is powerful. She's not as powerful as her son, but she has always been one of the most powerfulest members of the Fantastic Four. That's how we got the whole Malice thing, because when she became Malice, it was like that's when a switch kind of flipped, because she stopped being Invisible Girl, she became Invisible Woman. And the Malice thing showed how, like, if Sue really want to put her mind to it, she can do a lot of things with her force field, her visibility, and her force field powers that nobody really thought about, nor did she think about. So when I'm hearing people over here talking about, oh, she's a Mary Sue because she pushed back Galactus or whatever, yes, first off, she pushed her powers to the limit. She's a mother who's trying to protect her son. So I'm sorry. What did you think was going to happen when a mother sees her son about to be kidnapped? What did you think was going to happen? And again, for most of the movie, I mean, for most of the battle, she was kind of knocked out. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like she was, you know what I'm saying? It's not like she just came out of nowhere and just did it. That's part of her powers. Remember, we're 4 years into the Fantastic Four. So she's already had ways of using her powers already. But it's always been that kind of thing, is that Sue's powers work from the limitation of her brain, and the fact that, if like I said, if she pushes herself more, like when she did with Galactus, she literally stroked herself out from it, like she like she died right there. That's why Reed didn't want her, because he knew that if she kept pushing, and that's why she was like, "Go get our son," because she knew, he knew, or whatever. But luckily, Franklin was able to bring her back to life. But yes, Susan Storm is not a Mary Sue. This has always been something part of her storyline. If you ever read Fantastic Four comic books, look, I know on both sides, sometimes we need to read the book, because, like I said, having somebody in the movie theater after the movie was over and was trying to talk about that this was one of the most inaccurate depictions of the Fantastic Four, and Superman 2025 is more accurate, get the hell out of here with that bullshit. Get all the hell out of here with that bullshit. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out, everybody.